In 30 seconds, you will be witness to one of the greatest online events in the history of, well, online events. Descript proudly brings to you a topic that you deeply care about and whose name is the title of this online event. I'm Don. I am not your host. I am an overdub stock voice included for free with Descript. So, now, let's meet someone who actually works here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey,
How's
Christiana.
it going? Hello, everybody. Yes, we actually work here. And we're so excited to be with you all today. I'm Christiana. I'm the community manager here at Descript, and I'm joined by Kevin, our product specialist.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, and I'm tuning in from Brooklyn and New York City, and Kevin is at Descript HQ in San Francisco.
I am indeed in our recording studio. Yeah.
So fun. Very cool. And I'm already looking at the chat and seeing that we have people from all over the place. Washington, UK, Palestine, all over. So hi, everybody. Keep saying hey. Tell us where you're tuning in from.
Welcome.
Someone says, do you really work here? We better.
Really.
Or else the last few months have been pretty confusing. Or else the simulation is real. But yes, we'll give everyone a few more seconds to jump on, and we'll start with a fun little icebreaker that we just came up with before we jump in.
In honor of summer camp starting for so many people, I feel like it should be something about summer.
And that's what we've got. And everyone can answer in the chat. But my question for Kevin today is, if you had to make a social video around one summertime activity, social video, any piece of content, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. Well, I want to know your answer too. I've been making a lot of s'mores lately with my nephews. So I think a how to make a s'more video would be great for social, especially the art of the golden marshmallow. I mean, that's essential. So I think
You're a golden
that'd be
marshmallow guy.
I'm a golden marshmallow all the way.
You're not a let it catch on fire type.
No, flaming torch to get you through the cave. No, that's not
No.
not the way. Not the way.
To each their own.
What's
That's fair.
what's your go-to social video for summertime activity?
I think I would make one around. So I grew up in San Diego, a mere 5-10 minute drive from the beach. And when I was growing up, like that drive was so exciting. And I like remember like the feel of the old rusty Suburban. We used to pile all the kids in to the beaches. So I would make something around that, like the
Love it.
drive over there.
I love it.
So I'm seeing yes, lots of beach kayaking in the chat, disc golf. Love it. So fun. Well, before you go out and enjoy your summer or enjoy your night or your day or whatever you're doing, the next hour is going to be filled with all things social video and all things social video features here at Descript. So before we jump in to all of that, I say let's watch a little video to explain what we're really talking about, to prime us up. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Laura, if you wouldn't mind playing that.
Its new social video features are as easy as
so-called user-generated content or whatever you're going to see from the iPhone cam or whatever it is in the newscast.
1, 2, 3, through our.
So Rachel walked me around all these massive tanks of clownfish and sharks.
So when I first started the podcast, I was growing my brand on LinkedIn.
When I was growing up in the 90s, I saw these kinds of ads on late night TV all the time.
So, for example, like Dr. Laura Wilson, who's our paleontologist at Sternberg.
The day of the show arrives. I'm thinking to myself, there's no chance he's going to show up. He showed up.
Shapes, waveforms, dynamic text, progress bars, 4 features, infinite possibilities for promoting your content.
Awesome.
Wow,
So-
that's great. I've never seen that video before. That's a great video.
Really?
Yeah, I love
It
it.
never gets old. It's one of my favorites. And Laura, who's on the back end of this event, made that. So shout out to Laura. So yeah, that was like a quick 2-minute intro into what we're going to talk about today. So all of those steps, we're going to dive in, and Kevin's going to show us how to do it. But that was also some inspiration, as you saw, a bunch of different beautiful looking social videos and things that you can make for your podcast, for your videos, your online courses, whatever it is. We're going to show you how to make something beautiful. And Kevin's gonna lead the way. But before we even jump into that, I thought we could just kind of chat about why you would want to make a social video sort of in the first place. Because obviously it's key for promoting your content across TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all of the things. But for me, it really comes down to 2 main bits. So it's growing your audience and then also engaging with the audience that you already have. And feel free to jump in with anything I'm missing here, Kevin. But with growing your audience, so this is like a very creative way that you can brand your promotional videos and share across your platforms to help your stuff stand out. It also can help you get discovered, instead of just wherever you're posting, say, your podcast or publishing your podcast. If you put clips on something like Instagram or TikTok, and you're hashtagging and using your keywords, somebody that's looking for content like yours might have a better job of finding it. And of course, same with YouTube and searchability. And then something that I like even more than that is the piece where you engage with your audience. So you can turn your content, say you have an hour-long podcast episode, and you take like your favorite bit, your favorite minute, and you put it on Twitter. And then you can kind of have that conversation with your loyal listeners and interact and such.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that piece of it. And then you give your audience a piece that they can share too. So they can post to their stories or share with friends. And you can just build your community more even that way.
So true. And all the tools that we're using in conjunction with Descript allow us to do that. Record video, whether you're recording using the built-in camera recorder with Descript or our integration with Restream, Squadcast, or Riverside called Edit in Descript. All of these things allow us to record video content, chop it up, repurpose it, put it out into the world, and engage the folks that love our show, or will soon love our show.
Exactly. So we're going to dive into, that's a little bit of the why. And now I think we'll dive into the how. But before we even do that, just a few more ground rules. So if you look below in Crowdcast, you'll see the Ask a Question box. Our lovely friend and support team member, Zach, is monitoring that area. So if you have questions that come up along the way, feel free to shoot it in there and we'll get those covered for you. I also think we have a couple polls in the poll section, so definitely go check that out. And of course, chat in the chat. And then we'll save some time at the end for questions, and we'll plug a few things. I already see somebody asking about season 3, so we'll talk a little bit about what's coming next. And then we'll break. How does that sound?
Sounds amazing to me.
Okay.
I'm ready to jump in.
Let's do it.
Cool. Thanks, Christiana.
Of course.
So for the folks that are new to Descript, I think it's important to just give us a little leveler and talk about what Descript is and what we can do. Descript is a text-based audio and video platform where we bring in our media, whether it's audio, video, and images. But with audio and video, narrative audio and video, we're able to generate a transcript and use the text from that transcript to edit the audio or video, just like a Word doc or a Google Doc. It's amazing. In addition to that, we can drop in for social video a bunch of other really cool features. We saw in the video at the beginning of the program, waveforms and progress bars, dynamic captions, and we're going to jump into all that today. But here's how the Descript app looks. We create these things called projects, which are basically when we're ready to make one video or maybe a repurposing of a single episode or live stream that we did, something like that. And those are created up here in the top right-hand corner. You can create that project. If you're also doing maybe some point of view camera work where you want to just talk to your audience and that's going to be published out, you can create a quick camera recording pretty easily as well. So when you open up Descript for the first time, create yourself a project. And what you're going to have looks like this. It's this empty blank workspace where you give a nice call to action to drag and drop to start transcribing. So when you have your video, you can just start to load it in and work right away. So let's do that. I'm going to go on my computer and grab a couple files from an interview that we did. And we're going to transcribe them. We have 23 different languages you can choose from. You're allowed to set up some nice filler word label. Filler word. Speaker labels.
Get ahead of yourself.
Oh man, giving it away. It's nice and color coded and labeled out. So when our transcript pops out, it says when each individual speaker is speaking, so we can keep track of when we're going and editing. And this is a great interview between Marilyn, who runs our creator program, and her friend Petra. So add these speaker labels, going to combine it into a multi-track sequence, which we can talk about a little bit in editing, but that's another thing to check out in our Descript 101 live stream. You can check that out on YouTube. But what we get after we bring in our media is this really nice laid out transcript of what was said in the video. We have our canvas, which is the visual component, obviously, of what we're seeing, and then our timeline. All three of these are linked. So any edits that we make to the text will also happen in the video. So check this out.
We are officially recording now. So we are recording. We are officially.
All right. This whole intro, I don't really need it. I want to start with my name is Marilyn Moser. So I'm just going to take this text and delete it. And now the video starts here.
My name is Marilyn Moser. I am the influencer marketing manager.
Awesome. Just like that.
Never gets old.
Never gets old. I'm going to use this feature called automatically assign multicam real quick, which will just bring forward the active speaker in our video so we can see who's talking. And you can access that up at the wrench icon right here. So when I automatically assign multicam, it's going to bring Marilyn forward when she's talking, and it'll bring Petra forward when she's talking. Just like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we have this interview, this beginning of the interview is this section. I think this interview is maybe an hour long, but we're going to use this 2-minute section to promote the actual podcast that we're working on. Our team's editing and working on, but we want to get this stuff out to get people excited. So the features that I really love in Descript for social are changing the orientation of video. So we're making sure that we're getting to all those platforms that Christiana was talking about that are going to look and feel a little bit different depending on which one we're on. And the way we do that, I like to do is decide what we want to publish. And it's going to be maybe a little quick section of the interview or just a segment that we really like. And then we're going to duplicate that a bunch of times so we can put out the same content on multiple platforms. So we'll take this one section, create a video of it, and then create a few different versions that look and feel like the different platforms and their orientation.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's use this section from Petra.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic. As of like March 5th.
Maybe we want to do some quick editing. We can delete this, or we can use our ignore feature, which does the same thing.
As of like March.
Edits out that media, but we can see what we took out. So now I have this nice section of Petra explaining her first perspective about being a musician in New York during the pandemic and what that involved. This is going to be our section that we want to put out to all our social media. So first I'm going to separate this from the rest of the interview so I can treat it like its own video. I'm going to use our feature called clip to composition. And that's that paper clip up here. I click that. I'm going to send that over to a new composition. It's also a great keyboard shortcut if you want to do that. Command or Control Shift C. When I clip that, check out in the left-hand sidebar, it just drops it over into its new composition. That's like our version of a document. So I'm going to say clip for social. I'll rename it real quick, and I'm going to start to work on this. This is going to be our piece that we put out. Great. So let's give it a quick listen.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic. As of like March 15th, 2020, I was locked in my bedroom. I felt like everything that I knew in the outside real world had just disappeared in a matter of days. Yeah. And as a musician and as a very social person, I did not know what to do because everything involved me interacting with other people, seeing other people, sharing my art with people. And for the first time in a really long time, I was isolated, like in my apartment.
Cool. Okay. So as you can see, I was going through and highlighting some sections where I think I need to do some editing. We have a great highlight feature up here, which also opens up some other possibilities in different editing platform or different editing workflows. But here I'm going to go and clean these up. So I'm going to use our timeline down here to clean up some of these edits.
Pandemic,
by clicking and dragging this little tab right here, it's going to add a crossfade. So you can see these two clips that are adjacent have this tab. I pull that to the left, and it's going to smooth out that jump cut a little bit for me.
Pandemic, as of like
beautiful.
And this one, we can see, if you look real close, you can see that Marilyn jumped in. There's a little bit of crosstalk. Right. And we want this from the perspective of Petra telling her story. So I'm actually going to edit that sequence that we originally brought in, which is the multi-track view. It's going to show Petra's track and Marilyn's track. And I can just double click right into where that crosstalk happened. And you can see here, oh yeah, there's Marilyn saying, yep. So we're going to pull that out. I'm going to use this range tool. Again, please check out the Descript 101 for all of our finer tune editing capabilities, but I just want to show you what we have the option to do once we get our stuff in here. We use this range tool to select the crosstalk, and I'm just going to delete it. So this is that multi-track view. It's the original pairing of those two video files. And I'm going to go back out, and now that is removed from this video. Cool. Looking good. All right. So let's start building this out. So this is our standard, audio and video over the internet interview. Looks pretty good. Sounds okay. We're probably gonna run it through Studio Sound, our voice enhancement feature at some point, but we want to get those visual elements happening. So we're really like designing the brand of this video. So with all of the different elements that we can add for social video, we basically first decide how long we want the element to last in the video, and obviously what element we're going to drop in. So the first part, how long we want that element to last, really comes down to what text we're going to select. So for captions, accessibility and just the ability to know what Petra's saying without having your volume on if you're on Instagram, TikTok, or anything, I want to select all the text because I want my captions to last from the beginning all the way to the end of the video. So I'm going to select all the text either manually if you're a mouse user there, or you can use Control or Command A. Select all. And so now we're going to select all that text and we can decide what we want to drop in. So you can see there's a plus button up here in our composition. It's a really quick way to add in different elements. You can see that list there after adding the plus button. But if you want to get real quick, you can use this thing called the conductor. This is maybe the best and at least the first shortcut you should learn in Descript. And it's Command or Control K. And so after we've selected all the text, Command or Control A, we use the conductor, Command or Control A, to basically just tell Descript what to do or what to insert. So if I go Command K and I drop in captions, we call them fancy captions, it's going to add those captions from the beginning to the end of the video because I've selected all the text. Here they are. I can move them around, resize. And these are the last settings that I use. I use this yellow background, white font, and this gray follow-along dynamic text playhead. But I might want to change that, especially depending on what show I'm working on. So I'm going to actually select the captions, either in the canvas or down here in our timeline, but select them. You can also select them here in the script. And I'm going to click the clip inspector up in the top right-hand corner. And the clip inspector allows us to change any and all aspects of a single clip that we have selected. So I'm actually going to resize this so it's only one line, get it centered and leveled in the bottom. And now I'm going to scroll through our clip inspector here and make some changes. I'm going to change our font. If you have a custom font, you can add those through Google Fonts or from your computer.
Mm-hmm.
You can change the color, the fill of the text. Change the background. And what I love are these word level animations. So the playhead color follows along. Let's go with maybe yellow. Yellow and purple is nice.
Just disappeared in a matter of days. And as
Okay, I'm going to change that a little bit for accessibility, I think. Maybe give it some opacity, which makes it a little bit translucent or opaque, less opaque.
like March 15th, 2020, I was locked.
Cool. So just like that, adding captions, we have captions that span the entirety of the video. Text-based editor, we have this transcript, so we know that we're going to utilize that for a number of things, including captions. We can also export those later on if we're ever putting this media out on a different platform that requires maybe a text file or a file for subtitles. But in this case, we're going to burn in these captions right to the video so they are there and in the video file that we end up exporting in the end.
Awesome. Yeah. What I really love about these, especially if you're creating on behalf of an organization or a business, is you can customize these to look to completely match with your brand. So if your company uses a specific font, you can upload that right into there. All your colors, all of those things. We'll show you in a little bit how to add an image. So you could add your logo. So yeah, just one-stop shop for all that good stuff.
Love it. Love it. Cool. Let's do that. Let's add a logo. So here's a great example of where we might not want the logo to last for the whole video. So we can select the text and say, okay, by the time we're about a third of the way through, we want this logo to fade out, which we'll show you how to fade in a second too. I'm going to select about this amount of text or whatever I want. I'm going to go onto my computer where I have my image stored, which you won't be able to see right now with my screen sharing, but I'm going to a folder on my desktop that has our trusty Descript logo. And I'm going to drop that logo in right on this selection right here. And it drops it in. You can see it automatically cuts it to start at the beginning in this pin, which is the orange pin here. And the end of it is this boundary, which is color-coded in orange right here. And I can select that and change it if I ever wanted to in the script, as well as in the timeline in our overlay pin track here. So this is goofy. We want to resize this, right? We're going to go on our canvas, resize, decide where we want it to go. We'll go to the beginning of the video and watch it how it starts.
So honestly, the inspiration.
Maybe we want that to come in a little bit later, actually. So we could click and drag the pin really quick and move that around. So that'll change where it starts. And you can see it also change in the timeline. Decide, okay, maybe we'll start right there. Or we can go in the timeline and adjust the start or end point by hovering over the boundary and adjusting that way. So if you want it to last for a shorter length of time or longer, you can extend or collapse it. Entirely up to you. The last piece for these kind of short, a short time period of our video, these elements that are only last for a moment, we want to add some fade-ins, fade-out, so just make it look and feel really nice, less abrasive in their entrance and exit. So by clicking and dragging these little tabs here, we can add a nice fade-in, about a second long, and then we can add another nice fade-out. We'll do that a second as well. So now here's what we got.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic. As of like March 15th, 2020, I was locked in my bedroom. I felt like everything that I...
Cool.
Beautiful.
Looking good. Looking good.
Mm-hmm.
What else should we add, Christiana?
Well, something that just came to my mind as you were talking about this, like say this is an episode and at the end you wanted some text to pop up saying like, go watch episode 7 on Spotify. How would we add something like that, like a CTA at the end of your social video?
Yes. Great question. So I'm going to go to the end and I'm going to drop that in. Let's clean up the ending really quick because I know there were some edits that needed to be made.
I was isolated, like and for the first time in a really long time, I was isolated, like in...
I'm just going to take out that whole sentence and we're going to end after sharing my art with people. Adjust the ending of our captions right there. And here we're going to drop in a title. So I'll use the conductor again, Command or Control K. Click in the script where I want it to drop in. And we're going to insert some text. So now you can see in the timeline that lasts beyond where Petra's speech is. So we can adjust that too so it can be on a blank screen like so. So maybe we wanted to adjust the start time, anything like that.
Cool.
We can also, in the timeline, add these things called gap clips, which give us a little bit more flexibility. So if I zoom in here and right click, I can insert a gap clip. And that is just a blank section. In this case, it has some room tone on it. I'm going to turn that off. That's AI generated room tone, which if you're a podcaster, it's very cool when you're editing your podcast, but for this purpose, we're not going to use it. You can check out more on that in our Descript tips. But we're going to adjust this gap clip to, I don't know, last however long, maybe 5-6 seconds. We'll put the CTA at the end, which is our title. So here I'm just creating some blank space and I can kind of have this move around a little bit more freely because it's not at the end. So same thing, I'll add some fade ins, some fade outs maybe, and I'm going to edit this, put it in the center.
Nothing scarier than typing on a live stream, huh?
Gosh, really peering into my abilities, my training in 4th and 5th grade.
Well, you nailed it. So
Yeah. All right. So
awesome.
then we can have our CTA jump up really quickly like that. And same thing, you can edit all and adjust all the parameters in our clip inspector on the right of any clip we have up.
Beautiful. Cool. Yeah, you mentioned earlier Descript tips. So I'm going to quickly plug our wonderful video team on our content team. Lara and Tiff have made some Descript tips. These are short, quick videos that are quick tutorials on different aspects of our product. So anything from social video stuff like we're talking about, editing the transcript, really amazing things, ducking, all of the above. Go check them out on our YouTube. You can find them all there.
Lara does such a great job of breaking down these like mini workflows that exist in Descript, right? It's like not talking about making a whole podcast, but it's how to add captions and adjust all the parameters, and it really lets you dial in. And she's awesome at explaining it. So
yeah,
I can't recommend those enough. I love them.
Yeah, go jump in on YouTube, and also this will be on YouTube when we're done. So if anyone needs to jump off, feel free to just check out YouTube later, and you can pick up right where you left off.
Cool.
Sweet.
Let's add a progress bar. So progress bar, obviously important. We want to know the length of the video and where we are from start to finish. So same thing, I'll Command or Control A to select all, Command or Control K for the conductor, and then progress bar. That gives us the classic social progress bar that we can add wherever we'd like. In this case, this is the rectangle or 90-degree angle progress bar, which may or may not work for this video. So I might actually go in and change this to be let's go with the ring. So now I have this progress bar here, yeah.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic.
Oh, here's an idea. Maybe we'll have our Descript logo up here in the middle of that.
Getting creative.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic. As of like March 15th, 2020, I was locked in my bedroom.
Cool. It's also, this might be a great time to throw in kind of a link right here or a logo of the show that it is, promo code if there's something like that. But thinking about that space and the visual elements we have under our fingertips, that'd be a really awesome thing to add in, I think.
Totally.
Cool. All right, what else? Anything else we can add this, Christiana?
Let's see here. Should we show them the waveforms, maybe?
Yeah.
What do you think?
That'd be great.
Cool.
That classic audiogram of the waveform jumping up and down. Right. We have those in so many options. So I'm going to add in a waveform, same way with the conductor. And we can decide what style we want. In this case, the ring. Maybe I'm going to go off the circle concept and pair that with the ring progress bar we have going. Or maybe I'm going to use those lines that we had and check that out. So I can resize these, adjust the magnitude, which is the height, fidelity. If you want it more like line-based or more wave-based, you can really can mess around with this stuff. All these elements make it so fun making social video too, because you can just get really creative about how they look. Like you can see it in the video we played at the beginning. People are using logos and text and layers to make things pop and feel like a cohesive brand. So
totally,
I love it.
In the outside real world had just disappeared in a matter of days. And as a musician and as a very social person, I did not know what to do because everything involved me interacting with other people, seeing other people, sharing my art with people.
Okay, that's
looking
pretty cool.
Disappeared in a matter of
Sweet.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, these are super fun to play around with. And also just like that, if say you start doing the same thing every episode, people start to look out for it and look forward to it. So start branding yourself. It's pretty fun.
For sure. For sure. All right. So
Cool.
I'm going to go through another process in a little bit more of a creative approach for a friend of mine's show. But before we do that, we should talk about this process of, we've created a video, right? It's got our progress bar, waveform, captions, logo, kind of stuff. Did a little bit of editing. Maybe we want to make it sound a little better. So what we can do is I'm going to go into that sequence again, and I'm going to add studio sound to Petra's audio, which is our voice enhancement feature. It's going to remove background noise and that room reverb and reflection that you can hear in her space. It's also recorded, I believe, over Zoom. So it's got a little bit of degradation of quality. So it's going to make it sound like she's a little bit closer to the microphone, nice and warm and present. So I'm in that sequence. You can also do this by going to the project files and just right-clicking on the single file, but just another way to do it. Add effect and add studio sound. It's going to process, it's going to analyze the sound of her space, the sound of her microphone, and it's going to really enhance how Petra is sounding. Let's go back out.
Cool.
All right. While that's applying, we're done already. Man, it gets quicker and quicker. It feels like every day. Let's give it a listen.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic. As of like March 15th, 2020, I was locked in my...
Cool. So it sounded pretty good, but I might want to make some adjustments. I'm going to go back into this sequence really quick.
Honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic. As of like March 15th.
And I can adjust the intensity of studio sound because it's a little bit over processed. It sounds out of place because you can tell she's in a room. So if it doesn't sound like a room, it might feel a little artificial. So if I adjust the intensity maybe down to like 75%, I can type it in or use this dial. Really dial in.
So honestly, the inspiration really came...
How much studio sound I want. So mess around with that. It's amazingly helpful and obviously easy to use. So check out studio sound.
Awesome.
All right. I think we're ready to duplicate this video and put it out on all of our different platforms.
Yeah, we've got some questions in the chat about how do I make this right for square platforms like Instagram? How do I make this right for vertical platforms like TikTok? So you've come to the right place. Kevin's going to show us. Kevin's going to show us how to do it.
So first bit is we got to figure out how many we're going to make, right? So this is landscape. This will work great on Instagram proper or LinkedIn. Also just sharing out with other folks if you need to get feedback or anything like that. So I'm gonna keep this as kind of our initial template, if you will, and I'll duplicate it a bunch of times. So I'm gonna go over to the sidebar here. It's the clip for social, and I'm gonna right click this and make some duplicates. So we'll go with 3.
Cool.
So this one we want to put out on TikTok. This one we're going to put on Instagram. And this one maybe Facebook. One more too. Actually, just kidding. We're good. So when we're starting to think about the orientation of these videos, we are going to do a little bit of cleanup. So the first one being TikTok, it's a big change. We're going from landscape to portrait. So what we're going to do is navigate on our canvas here, our video canvas, and click in the top right-hand corner into our video settings. Here we can change the orientation to portrait. So it automatically shifts this project, this composition, into a different oriented video where we have all of the same elements, but they might be scattered a bit. They don't look as good because this was originally designed for a landscape video. So we're gonna use all those skills that we developed in the first one and just repurpose those and make this look and feel how we want. So a great one for these portrait, whether it's TikTok or Instagram stories, reels, we might just want to expand this video and its size a bit and really fill up this frame.
Mm-hmm.
Put that in here. We might want to say, actually, the ring doesn't work for this one. We're going to make this into the bar and have that fill our top space. Adjust where Petra lives on the canvas.
Awesome.
Resize maybe here. Or maybe we're going to open up this space and double this line. So we have 2 lines of captions right there. We have our Descript logo, tried and true. That's looking pretty good already.
Mm-hmm.
And now, just in that was 30 seconds. Here's what we got.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic.
So here's a user error. This is great that this happened. Is I didn't select multiple clips to make that size change. So I'm gonna undo. Our Command or Control Z is maybe our second favorite shortcut in any of our media creators.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna undo some layer changes here. All right.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic.
Amazing. We're all human, aren't we?
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna select
It was
all
planned,
of these.
actually. He's trying
Certainly.
to be relatable.
Certainly, yeah. So what I did down here is I selected all of the clips by using Shift and clicking. So it selects a whole series of clips, and I can change the parameters of multiple clips. I could have done this before I started editing if I was planning out, but here we are. Selected all those clips, and I'm going to change the width and height, X and Y axis by going into our clip inspector here. So, of course, I'm going to need a Command Z a couple more times to get us back to where we started. Here we are. Okay. Shift click. I'm going to select all those clips. And we're going to go into portrait.
Cool.
Sweet. So I can change where it lives on the X and Y axis. Go back to 50 because I want that centered. But I'm really just going to blow this up.
Beautiful.
Cool.
While Kevin's doing that, I have to say, I'm seeing lots of comments in the chat about templates and how nice it would be if there could just be templates for all these awesome things that Kevin is showing us. And to that, I say, we hear you, and definitely come to season 3 in 2 weeks. And we'll have some updates to share.
I'm excited.
Me too.
All right. We're back where we want to be here. Looking good. Ready for TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to be a TikTok influencer. All right. Which Petra kind of is already.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic. As of March 15th, 2020, I was locked in my bedroom. I felt like everything that I knew in the outside real world had just disappeared in a matter of days.
Looking pretty good. I could do some more cleanup, but that's the gist for repurposing for a specific portrait-oriented video. That's looking great. We're solid. Now we're going to go to our Instagram clip down in our, over here in our sidebar.
Cool.
So this one, we're going to want to make square. That's right, Christiana? Square is our go-to for Instagram proper.
Exactly. 1-to-1 square.
All right. So it's looking good. I'm going to change the orientation of the full canvas to square. You can see that popped up. Now we have some more space top and bottom, and I'll do the same thing. I'll do some resizing here. I really love using this kind of letterboxed vibe for these videos because it helps the captions stand out a little bit. It gives us some space to add in a progress bar. But if you ever want to just remove those, you can just full screen this and really blow up this video. All right. I think I'm gonna go back to the bar for our progress bar. That was working really well.
Yeah, I love that. It's also a good social hack in general because we know on social people have limited attention spans. So when you can set the expectation and they can see, oh, I'll stick around for that looks about like 30 more seconds. It's super helpful. So there's a little hack.
Absolutely. Managing expectations. That could be our next live
true.
event.
Yeah, absolutely. How to
Here we
101.
go.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic. As of like March 15th, 2020.
Looking good. Ready for Instagram. Our last one, Facebook. Probably going to keep this landscape. This is going to be great for Facebook, LinkedIn. But if you ever had custom dimensions that you needed for a specific platform, or you're working with an outside producer or something and you're going to publish somewhere else, you can always add custom orientation presets.
Beautiful.
But cool. There's our 3 videos. I think we're ready to export.
I think we are. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So when we're ready to export these, we're going to export them as video files. It's going to download to our computer. I'm going to drop those onto either a social sharing platform service that we use, or just port them over to my phone so I can go directly to those social media platforms. I'm going to click up here in the top right-hand corner, go share, and export. So before I go to the video, I do want to also highlight here our audiogram feature. So for folks that are maybe not ready to have all this manual control and take the time to put in these completely customizable elements, we do have a kind of like 101 layer to social video, which is an audiogram. So going into audiograms, these are completely, really, really complete templates for us that we can scan through, find the right one that we like, change all of the components that we're seeing there in the visual. So title, speaker label, if we want to see those. Accent color, also brandable. Background image, and if you want a custom logo or badge. And that's it. It publishes, you can download it, and it's ready to go. So if you need a first step before going into some of the manual, maybe a little bit more time intensive social video features, check this out and see how it goes. All right. Starting back at our process. Share, export, video. Here we can decide our audio settings. Check out our help center if you would like some more explanation of these. But in this case, I'm going to use the highest audio bit rate, which is going to be highest quality. If you want to normalize your audio, you can do that as well. For social, -14 or -16 are good industry standards. Hit us up if you want to learn more about those as well. And I'm always going to go with high video quality because I want this to look really great. But at the end of the day, try these out, listen to it, see the video, decide what you like, and mess around with your settings. I'm going to export and label and go out and save to my computer, just like that. It's going to export our video. I'll do this for each one, package those up. If I'm on a Mac, so I'll probably just airdrop them over to my phone and start to post them. Or maybe I'm using a file storage system, Dropbox, Google Drive or something to save those and back them up and then put them out. But just like that, the export is complete.
So honestly,
and I have my video all set.
Awesome. Super cool.
Yeah.
That was in like 10 minutes. You made 3 different videos that you could use across your socials. So yeah, like that audiogram feature, you can do it. It's like a couple clicks, but really once you get comfortable with these features and you get them down, you can make something really cool and unique in just a few minutes.
For sure. I want if it's cool, Christian, I'm happy to answer some questions, or we can answer some questions. But I'd also love to go through a really quick creation of a little bit more creative social video using a couple things that I've been messing around with lately. Are there any good questions we might want to get to before that?
Totally. Let's check them out. And we've got our friend Ryan who's also checking them out. That Ryan, if you want to bring any questions up, now would be a perfect time. But I see a couple. First, is there a feature request option? Absolutely, there is. We do have a feature request board. We use Canny, and we will send that in the chat, Trina. We love checking those out, and we update those, and you can see what's planned, what's under review. So definitely go check that out.
And in the app, if you're using Descript, click the question mark in the bottom right-hand corner to open up the Learning Center, and you can click feature requests right there. That'll bring you to the page.
Perfect. And that's also, great question that we have just brought up. Okay. Somebody asks, Nita Jane asks, are all of these features available in the creator version of Descript?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, they are. So yes, we have the free plan with Descript, and then you can upgrade to Creator or Pro to get access to some of our more advanced and more complete features. And for all of you new users out there right now, we actually want to give you the chance to try out Descript Pro for a month for free. So we'll throw that promo into the chat right now, but use coupon code social videos at checkout, and you can try advanced filler word. You get more hours of transcription. What else am I missing? There's a lot of stuff. There's lots of good stuff.
Check out descript.com/plans if you want to learn more about those.
Yes, exactly. Somebody asks, are you going to... So yes, this will be on YouTube after we're done, and it'll just be listed as the title of this event. So yes, it'll be the Create Sharable Social Video Clips with Descript, and you can find that in the playlist as well, where we put all of our live events.
Love it.
But let's see. Somebody asked about YouTube Shorts. Would that be similar to TikTok? So that's asking about the dimension and the aspect ratio. So yes, so for stuff like IG Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, that's going to be that vertical TikTok option that Kevin reviewed earlier, which is a great question. Okay, next. How do you select multiple clips? When I edit out the filler words, there are many clips, and then edit the video.
Great question. So when you use our magical tool called Remove Filler Words, this is the pro version, so we have all these different options here. We can remove them, and it's going to edit out. You can see here all these uhs and ums. I'll use ignore so we can see that they're gone. Strikes them out, but it removes them from the video. But what that leaves us with is it's just a bunch of edits, right? So there's a lot of little jump cuts maybe. To select all of these clips in the timeline to be able to change the size of multiple clips, what I'm going to do is either select all, Command or Control A, or I'm going to actually click and shift click the beginning of the video in the first clip, and then I'll shift click to the end, hold down shift and click, and then I'll select not only the first clip and the last clip, but all the clips in between, just like that. And then I can go into our clip inspector and adjust the size of multiple clips, just like that. You can see that right here. It says multiple clips. That's how you know you're confirmed for adjusting multiple at once.
Beautiful. Cool. Adding on to that, do you apply studio sound to each track separately or together?
I like to do each track separately because in this case, they're in different spaces, right? So Marilyn might need a little bit of a different approach for our mix. So having that control is really nice. So I avoid, when possible, I avoid importing a single file. But I will say, if you're going to be doing your repurposing game and you've published a podcast to distribution partner or to YouTube or anywhere, and you have a single file of your episode, go ahead and drop that in. You can apply some light studio sound to the whole file, but it's probably going to already sound good because you've published this to the world, right? So what you're really wanting to be doing at that point is just taking what you've put out, and repurposing it, chopping it up, and adding some of these visual elements so you can get it out.
Awesome. Beautiful. How about one more question and then we'll jump into what you wanted to close out with, Kevin.
Sounds great.
How can we add audio or a pre-made video / audio to the beginning of the episodic show and or clip?
Awesome. Yeah. So what they're asking here is how to add an intro, right? So we can add an intro in a number of different ways. It could be visually, like we did before, where we created a gap clip and added some text, right? So we could add a gap clip to the beginning here. And one of my most used shortcuts in Descript to create these intros is just clicking and dragging this word tab right here. And if I click that and drag it to the right, it's going to create a blank frame at the beginning of my video. So just clicking and dragging that word tab and say, okay, maybe 5 seconds. Boom. It's about 5 seconds. And now I have 5 seconds of black frame at the beginning of the video, and I can add whatever I like. So maybe a title, maybe some B-roll, maybe some silent video from later on in the interview.
Right.
But whatever it is, I'm just going to drag it and drop it in. So in this case, let's go. I'll find music because that was part of this question. I'm going to open up a folder on my computer and pull in some licensed music that I have for my podcast. I'm going to drop it in right in my timeline here in this overlaid pin track where all these other pins are. And the audio file, you can see the music file is dropped in right there. So I can click, expand this and get it to look and feel how I want. So maybe I want a little bit of an overlap. So I'll continue to hover over this clip boundary and I can extend it. So actually I want it to last a little bit into the video. So I'll put that there. I'll use our fade again to fade that out. And now here's what I have.
So honestly, the inspiration really came because of the pandemic. As of like March 15th, 2020, I was locked in my bedroom. I felt like everything that I knew.
Beautiful.
Maybe not the right
I liked
vibe.
it.
Maybe not the right vibe for this one. But this is another great point to talk about our Descript tips that Laura and Tiff have made. Check out ducking, which will automatically reduce the volume of other tracks that you have. And so in this case, the music track, it'll pull it down when Petra starts speaking. So you don't have to worry about manually changing the volume at all and automating that, which you can do in Descript, but for a different time.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, I see we've got about 5 minutes left before we hit the hour.
All right.
So did you want to jump into... Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. And then before we hop off, we'll leave with some things you can do next to keep learning and to stay in touch with us. But
cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I'm ready to start, and this is a different podcast, a different project. I'm going to go back to my drive real quick. I'm going to click this Descript D, go back to the drive. And this is going to be a little bit quicker than our earlier demo. So bear with us, but watch the recording if you'd like to revisit how I'm doing all these things. Go back to my drive, create a new project in the top right. This is for articles of interest. If you don't know this podcast, check it out. It's so good. It's like a discovery of clothing and how humans have developed clothing over time. It's very, very cool.
Cool.
Articles of interest. So I'm going to go to my computer and I'm going to pull up the files that I need to drop in. So the first one that I did a screen recording of my phone on Apple Podcasts. So Avery is our host. And so I did a screen recording of my phone and I sent that over to my computer. That looks like this.
Cool.
Plays back.
All of this, everything about menswear, from the uniformity to the world of tiny details to this whole...
So I have this it's this, what it looks like to be looking at my phone, listening to a podcast. And this kind of spurred this idea of like, okay, what if we could make some social video that made it look like someone was checking out their phone and listening.
Cool.
So another element that we got was this phone overlay. I'll drop in here. which is a PNG file. And we're going to make this square because that's the size. And here's where we start to work with layers. So this phone is it's a little funky. I'm actually going to move this to the bottom. So I'm going to right click it and move it to the bottom. So that changes the layer and actually puts the original video that we just dropped in on top of it. So I can mess around this way and resize and get this looking how I want.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then I'm going to move it back, layer up. Get that centered and looking good.
Beautiful.
So now we
Sweet
have
idea.
this.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Any details to this whole culture of sprezzatura. And this, all of this, everything.
Cool. So we have like that ticker. It has the title of the show, and it looks like we're checking out our phone. At this point, you can add all of those other cool elements that we did. So I'm going to select all, throw in some captions, make these white with that yellow color from the artwork.
Nice.
And we'll add some word level animation as well. Maybe that purple from the podcast app.
And this, all of this, everything about menswear, from the uniformity to the world of tiny details to this whole culture of sprezzatura, a lot of it can be traced back to one man. One man. His name was Beau Brummel.
Always a joy to talk about Brummel.
Ian Kelly is a historian, screenwriter.
Love it.
That looks really good.
So we're getting there. Yeah. So you can start to add in all these elements, and maybe I'll throw in a waveform, or I'll make this look a little bit better because I know Avery has branded font. So maybe I'll pull in the font from the actual artwork itself. This is also a Radiotopia show from our friends at PRX. So maybe I will drop in the Radiotopia logo right here. And same thing, do our little fade out and have a nice, ready to go, great looking social video piece for articles of interest. Yeah.
So cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, that was so quick. That was truly 4 minutes that you just did that in. And it looks like, you know, someone on their content team just spent a few hours whipping that up. So amazing. On the clock, Kevin.
On the
that
clock.
Was impressive.
On the clock.
That was really cool. Sweet. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for walking us through these amazing features. This was so helpful. I feel like I've learned a lot, and from the folks in the chat, it sounds like everyone did.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's been so fun. It's always fun to do this with you, Christiana.
So fun.
We got more coming up too, so everybody should stay tuned.
Totally. Yeah, these are a blast. And this, we decided to do one specifically on a feature because me and Kevin have done quite a few like 101s, like just intro to Descript things. And folks gave us some really awesome feedback that they would like us to deep dive on a feature. So I'm really glad that we did this. And that's a good plug for our community. We love to listen to our community. So definitely join our Discord. Submit your feature requests. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you want to see in the product, because yeah, we couldn't do any of this without you. So thanks for being here. This is recorded and it'll be on YouTube, so you can find it. You can come back. You can slow it down and rewatch Kevin's awesome tutorials. So check that out on YouTube, as well as our past events and all of those awesome tips. In 2 weeks, so on the 13th, July 13th, join us for season 3. It is our biggest update to date. We reinvented the video editor, and we're going to show you all the bells and whistles. So
it's very cool. It's very cool.
We're very excited. So definitely come join us. And last but not least, if you're a new user out there and you're on the free plan, give Descript Pro a try for free with the social videos coupon code at checkout, and we will throw that link in the chat as well, and in the follow-up email. So if you don't grab it right now, don't worry about it. You'll have another opportunity.
Big shout out to Ryan, Laura, and Zach on the back end. Zach's on the back end answering questions,
He's in
right?
the chat. Yes, it
Killing
looks
it.
like he answered like 50 questions. So I know he's typing away. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Ryan. Couldn't do it
you guys are
without
great.
you. And thank you to Kevin.
Thank you,
As always.
Christiana.
Absolutely. And thanks to everybody. We'll see you at the next one. But yeah, come say hi to us on social. Come chat in Discord. And this has been a blast. All right. See you
Happy
next
Thursday.
time.
See y'all.
Happy Thursday. Bye.